I felt compelled to make this video because there's a few videos I watched recently about how people's lives are kind of very torn up, either by complete chance or by a bad environment. So I just want to say there's no such thing as a perfect person, and I really do want to know everything about who um, I will be with or who I will be around. I don't like when a person just means to fluff up their feathers and pretend they're hot stuff. That is very suspicious, and it's dishonest. There's no such thing as a perfect person because there's no perfect environment for our development as humans when we grow up. So I'm going to be the last one to condemn you because I know these things to be true. I watched some videos about free will and how it's not a thing today. And I think that kind of falls through with religion and everything. Kind of throw off all those godly uh, throw off all those godly I don't even know, like whatever you're trying to be, facades. I can't even think very straight or very acutely because I've been so antisocial for so long. But I do appreciate that you guys just very much were honest with who you were and how quote unquote ugly you were in life, or how ugly your life was, not how ugly you are. I think that's just very real. Makes me feel more grounded because I know my life is a load of crap too. As a refresher for all y'all, I think when I was a baby, I watched this girl. I must have been like in preschool or something because I knew of her. I watched her get raped by those close to me. I guess I'll keep that a little quiet, but you might understand if I'm young at that age, like who is that going to be? And and then after that I was thrown off a building when I was like in preschool, like very scared. And then I was caught maybe like a story one story lower than that, even though it was like higher than that. Like think if it was freaking 7 stories high, and then I was caught at 6 stories or something like that. Like very scary, and I'm so scared of heights now. And then when my family moved to Nebraska, I had a Pastor Schultz, who wanted me to hook up with his daughter, and so he kind of drugged us both and he raped me all amongst it all. I think at least. It's probably just only blowjob stuff. I don't really remember too much, but I remember having private time with him and his daughter, Katie. And then my family moved again after 3 years. No, after, yeah, 3 years to Arizona, Lake Havasu, where I like this girl, Lauren Porter. It's been a while now, but I think my penis was too big, so she had, or she was She thought she needed someone to stretch it out for her or something like that. And that had to be a black guy. And I was so distraught by that. And then she wanted me not to jerk off the whole time between our meetups. And I just couldn't do that because I was so psychologically ruined from my childhood. From like, I kind of figured this out about how like there's a loss of self-control when you have a trauma of falling. And that kind of makes sense. When you were so young. But I'm sure there are a million other factors that would contribute to me not having such self-control like that. And then we moved back to Wisconsin, went to high school, Lakeside Lutheran in Lake Mills, and I was raped again by my football coach, Mr. Bauer, Jim Bauer, and that was all kind of tied in with how I liked a girl, Erin Leverance, and I was able to have sex with her only if I let Jim Bauer, reveal himself to me and govern my sexuality and have sex with me or something. I don't know. Face stuff, And then I went to college. I went to Martin Luther College, and I was caught up in this gang banging group. And you got to understand, like, there's a lot of drugs involved in meetups with other boys and stuff. And at first we had sex with, or we had this girl who was 15 years old, and we were all 18. We all let her give blowjobs to us. And then I asked to have sex with her one-on-one instead of with all the guys giving blowjobs or whatever. So I did that for a little while. And I probably still at that time didn't have self-control. And then there was one girl before I got into that group of guys. Dude, it's so traumatic and so scary for me. But it was the same thing, just one time a week meetups, and you can't break those rules. It's like, no, I am psychologically traumatized or injured, or I have trauma. I can't follow those rules of once a week. Can you accept me? I'm sorry. Good face profile. Anyway, I think I had meetups with a few different girls in that way, a once a week stuff. Where I just failed their own requirements for me. I had no self-control for my trauma, falling trauma. Look it up. And then, what else? Then I was such a bad guy or whatever from not having self-control. Then they had me. How it went down was Jason Zweifel, he woke me up in the middle of the night and he took me to this room where a few other guys were in. Nicholas Crescent and Eric Hahn and another. I think it was like, he was ethnic. He was like either Indian or Mexican. And then Jason gave me this open bottle of beer before I entered the room even. And then I drank it, and I just plopped myself on the top bunk of the dorm room, and I was kind of talking loudly to everyone around me. And Aircon's like, shut up and shut up and lay down. I'm like, what? So I did, and I fell asleep. Then Jason, he shook my chest to wake me up, brought me down, and I was under the influence from something that was mixed in with the open drink. And what else? What else do I have to say? Not that bad. Sorry. I'm distracted. He woke me up, and then he told me to get on my knees, and then he had Nick Cresson. He went behind my back. No, he at first time around, he went behind my back and held my hands behind my back when I was on my knees. And then Nick Cresson, he was a small guy. He had a small penis. He made me give him oral sex. And then I was done with that. And then they had Jason. No, they had Nick then hold my hands behind my back. And then Jason went for me and had me give him oral sex. And Jason, his sperm tasted kind of nasty, so I spit it out right away. It was nasty. And then they were like, no, you gotta swallow it. I'm like, too late now. And then I was under this influence of bullshit. Not really consensually moving around. My hands behind my back, you know? And then Jason went back again, held my hands, and then Eric Hahn, he unzipped his pants and he had a huge penis. I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Back the fuck up. That's what I said, and that's what I said in the gym, which was like a flashback memory, which, you know, I didn't remember at that time, but I had this impulse to say back the fuck up, and that was accurate to what I had said that night of. So I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? Fuck that. So I did a little bit, and I'm like, oh shit. It was weird, because it really didn't hurt or anything. It was like bizarre, because Eric told me to open the back of my throat so he could put his penis back down there, and I didn't want to do that first, but it didn't hurt when I did open up the back of my throat. But it's not something that is normal for a guy to be doing. Anyway, then Jason broke it up real quick, and then he took me to the back of the dorm room or something, or the front of the dorm room, the door was. And he's like, okay, hold on. I want you to bite his penis off. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Why? Why do you want me to do that? I don't even remember how he justified it, but apparently Eric wanted me to do that too. And they said, he didn't say anything after that. He said, just bite it off. I'm like, well, no. And then he brought me back to hold my hands behind my back. And then I looked at Eric and I'm like, you want me to do this? I didn't say anything, but he nodded and he's like, yeah, do it. But it was bizarre. And I can't bite. See, that doesn't seal the deal there, so I had to use my molars. That's painful as shit, I'm sure. Fuck that shit. Ugh. I do that to people. Anyway. Shoot. This all makes sense in a little bit. So I bit it off, and then they all ran out of the room, and then I wanted to leave the room too, so I went to the door, and I'm like, let me out. And Jason was like, jump out the window. Sorry, my profile. It's kind of silly. I'm like, no, I'm not going to jump out the window. He's like, yeah, do it. I'm like, no. So I don't understand why he wanted me to. It was a second story floor dorm room. And I was scared of heights because of my childhood trauma, so I couldn't really muster up. And I was all under the influence of everything, and I was kind of all spaced out, not wanting to do anything. So at the end of whatever excursion that we had going back and forth, I just laid in the middle of the dorm room on the floor, going to bed, just sleeping. And then Doug Van Sice, the husband of my cousin, and Andy Beanabender, he came in and he's like, pull your pants down. I'm like, no, what are you doing? He said, pull your pants down. So I did, and then he put a chip up my butt, and then he took a bat, hit me over the head, so I didn't remember that whole night at all. I didn't remember much of a lot of what happened during my freshman year of college year. Because there were some girls that I later saw who were, I had kind of talked to before, where I didn't know them at all. So when everything was done after that, I just kept to myself, played guitar in the basement of college. And then Erin Leverance, she pulled me out of the basement. She said, hey, come over here. She took me to the basketball gym of the college. And then there was other guys there. And I'm totally blind to what's going on because I just got hit with the bat kind of recently. And all these other guys, they were pulling their pants down. And they're like, yeah, pull your pants down. So I did. And then Erin Leverance, oh my God, she starts giving all these guys blowjobs with her top off. I'm like, no, don't do that. And she said, oh, it gets better, it gets worse, whatever. I'm like, no, don't do this. I was so scared at that time because I loved Erin Leverance. She was my friend. She fucked me up. Anyway, after she blew some of those guys off, then other guys came into the gym, big black guys, like porn qualified, certified, big penis guys, and they started fucking Erin Leverance too. And I was crying so bad. And this was all because of the Hahn family, which is a little bank, Hahn Financial. And I saw I saw Gigi Hadid and Miley Cyrus get fucked by all these big black guys and everything too. that night in the MLC courtroom, basketball court. So I was messed up in my head. Like I was crying so much. And I think I cried myself out while it was still going on. Just thinking, oh shit, dude, no, fuck this. And I think at that point when I was done crying, Han was like, oh, you've reached a new level of personhood or whatever, you know? And I think they then kind of, at least my friends, they propped up this little cross and they tied me to it or something while I was still naked after I was done crying. And they meant to kind of like say what I did was good for biting Eric off. But dude, I miss you guys so much. Anyway, then all those girls had sex with me quietly after the black guys left. And then Jason hit me over the head with the bat again. I think he meant to kind of fake hit me over the head with the bat, like hit me just a little bit, not pass out. But I said ow, and I wanted to get smashed out. I didn't want to remember anything, very subconsciously. So I said ow, and then Jason just hit me the second time, which knocked me out completely. Getting knocked out consecutively twice in a short period of time probably doesn't do any good for you. So I didn't remember all those things, but I finally remember now because I took some, or because I'm jumping too far ahead of this in the storyline. Anyway, so I kind of got kicked out of MLC after that fact. I'm like, I think you should. They said something like, I think you should go somewhere else. So I went to UW Platteville, Wisconsin, and that same shady shit was going on. Little white girls getting fucked by big black athletes or whatever. And there's this one guy, he's kind of convinced of my story, and he's like, bite my penis off too. I'm like, oh, fuck that shit. And he said, fucking Brooke Mayhack was also getting fucked by black guys, and Jared Baumgartner, he was creeping on her, and he's like, I got this Tyler guy you should meet. Fuck us instead. I'm like, and I wasn't involved in any of this discourse, but I think I kind of watched her with Jared giving black guys blowjobs. I'm like, fuck, not this again. I can save her. So she came over, and I said something like, don't take your shirt off anymore, and don't give a deep throat. But, you know, like, just be a little more conservative. Like, I know this is a fucking hellhole, but, oh, God. This is going to be like an hour long. This is new information coming together. And also, when I was at that college, I don't remember how many times I was pulled into these gangbang parties, but at least like 5 times. And it was all with black guys. Even like one time a black criminal justice professor was fucking a student that I liked because I looked at her in his class, so he would fuck her after the fact. How do you justify why this is a fucking thing? It's evil. So eventually after my remaining 3 years at the college, he said I was 3 credits short, so he set me away, not having a degree. So I went to Disney World to clean the toilets. And then um, there's one time at Disney World, this girl I was fucking with her boyfriend or whoever he was, definitely a Democrat. He was like, well, I forget what we're talking about. Those two philosophies of economics, two opposing theories. I'm like, he was on the wrong side. I'm like, no, that's not right. Anyway, the girl was crying after I hooked up with him one time. I wonder why. I wonder if I had given her. I was having sex with this very ugly girl in Platteville because she was so adamant about it. And then she gave me an STD. She thought it was some good reason to do that. To kind of cut me off from all other exposure to women. I don't know why. Anyway, I think I gave her an STD, and then she was crying about it after. Probably fucking sucks. You gotta be German, bro. That shit doesn't affect you because of the Black Plague makes us immune to STDs. So I am definitely German. Because that STD didn't affect me at all. Like, it didn't hurt me, or I didn't know I had it. But women, Rex, that I had sex with, it Rex. Anyway, after I left Disney World, then I went to work for this construction company in Wisconsin. No, nothing happened there. And then I moved to Arizona. I lived in an apartment, or I worked for this little phone call place. Nothing much happened there either. I was fired from that. Then I moved into an apartment. And then freaking Lil Peep, he wanted to meet me. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know this guy. But I've fallen in love with him after the fact. I'm like, I love his music. But he wanted to meet me back when I was in Arizona. And then after I was in that apartment for a little while, I tried mushrooms, magic mushrooms. There's some good stuff, and I've said all this before. But I went back to MLC, that first place that raped me and knocked me out because I didn't remember shit. And they let me back in. I'm like, okay, nothing fishy here. And then my sister, she had a friend in Eau Claire, and she just all of a sudden got naked and gave me a blowjob. I'm like, what's going on? And then two black guys come in, and they start fucking her like fucking face and pussy after, Eiffel Tower shit, whatever. Seeing that was horrific. I didn't want to see that shit. It's very scarring because it brings up my past traumas, Your friends getting fucked by black guys, getting raped by black men when they're freaking 18. That makes sense. They're of age. Yeah, no. Sorry, gun. My view is bad. Anyway, yeah. those black guys were Eiffel Towering her, and I'm like, I don't want to be here for this. And she's like, oh no, come on and join in, and you can fuck my pussy. It's like, no, I'm not gonna 4-person bang you. And then she's like, oh yeah, you could go in my vagina, and then you gotta have his penis in your mouth. I'm like, no. So I did it, and he went a little too deep, so I just kind of clenched my teeth a little bit just to stop him from going deeper. And then he's like, oh, he's biting down. I'm like, I'm not biting down, I'm just guarding myself. You're going too deep. This is bullshit. And then she pinched my leg, kind of indicating that I should bite down. So I did bite down. I bit his penis off. This stuff just freaking haunts me all the time. And the fact that that shit happened to Brooke too, those same black guys, they raped Brooke that way too. I just can't stomach it. It's terrible. Even though nothing's your fault, we don't have free will. It's just very scary for me. Very horrific. That's not something I want to, I don't know, face. Maybe I should face it. Maybe that would help something. But I am a little coward. I hate that shit so much. I'm a wreck. So I don't like that stuff. I don't like black people, but fucking white girls. I'll say that here and now. I think it's a racist fucking agenda of wiping out the white race. Because we are too strong otherwise. I don't care if you call me racist, dude. I'm sick of that shit. They're calling it black fatigue now. But after I just had this, I was hit over the head in Eau Claire after the Eiffel Tower stuff. Because I bit his penis off. Every time I bite a penis off, you're gonna get hit over the head with a bat. It's a fact. And I think I've bitten like a lot of penises off. But I'm not gonna count now. Because I got raped in Arizona too before I went to the apartment. And got hit over the head with a bat. So it remains a little foggy, but Platteville was a big one where I was hit a lot over the head with a bat. At least 5 times or something. But I just, one day at MLC, the second time I went there, I had this breakdown in the MLC basketball courtroom again, where I was all alone and I just had this huge compulsion to spill everything I knew about myself. I didn't feel like things were right, Like, what's going on? When's the last time I got hit over the head with a bat? Why don't I feel comfortable? Why am I here? And I'm sure all of you know all about that. Anyway, I was eventually like quasi expelled, kind of facetiously asked to leave whilst they drugged me in the seat that I was sitting in. That's something that people need to understand too. If you're sitting in a seat, they can lace the seat with a drug, and you will breathe it in, and you will be drugged up. So anything you do, like if you're in school and your seat is laced with a drug, there's nothing you can do. How about you just don't go to school? Because if you're pretty, they're gonna fuck you. You're a black professor, you're done. He's gonna fuck you. Very stupid. I don't like black people. There's nothing redeemable about them in my eyes. In this day and age where everyone is very volatilely at risk of being raped all the time, and there's drugs everywhere. There is drugs everywhere. COVID, freaking date rape, seat drugs. And everyone around everyone is just blackmailed into doing things like hurting someone who bit off their master's son's penis. They're blackmailed in this crap. And also, the girl from Eau Claire, because I bit that black guy's penis off, she said she was going to get raped terribly after the fact. And I'm sure that happened. And it's just all fucking terrible. I hate that shit. Like, what would you do if you wanted to be with a girl, but she got raped by black men? Because that is the case for every girl at MLC or in Wisconsin or Minnesota or Arizona. They all must be raped by black men or else they're racist. And we can't have that. We can't have that now. You can't be racist. It's, if you hear me now, I'm just so emotionally bamboozled. I can't keep a straight line of thought because all these floods of emotions are just whipping me here and there. It's like, it makes me want to, scream or something to make my mind right, but I just feel bad. Feel nothing but terror. So, after I was expelled from MLC, VP Schoen said I should kill myself to kind of seal the deal on me remembering my rape story or whatever. Because Eric Hahn is a pretty prominent guy. His uncle or father has some banking. Hahn Financial in South Dakota, at least. And I saw some other, like Home Depot, Hahn, sponsored by Hahn. Like he's around a little bit. I don't know if he is like the biggest Epstein type guy that around, but he's apparently pretty prominent. Hahn raped me. And he raped all my friends. And he beat me with the head with a bat. And he did this 7 times over. So it's kind of silly to think like, oh, I don't want to be a girl. I don't want to be with a girl who's been Eiffel Tower like black man. But like I've been through worse. Anyway, non-consensual all the way. My face. So after he told me to kill myself, I moved into this apartment and I got high on this guy's weed, but it was like it was kind of funny weed or something. Like it had crystals on it or something. I asked him like, what's in here? What's in this? And he's like, oh, it's this or that. I'm like, oh, okay. And I puffed a little bit and I just got overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, I need some milk. So I walked to the gas station and the fucking guy, he's like, you're going to jump off the bridge. I'm like, dude, I wasn't thinking about that at all. What are you doing? And then I just walked a mile to the gas station. I was thinking, well, I could jump off that bridge. He brought it to my mind. Kids are stupid. So I did jump off the bridge. I broke my foot and I think I fractured my hip or something. Not all so bad, but like I can't run as smoothly anymore, which I've never liked running anyway before. But my back is straighter because after I was hit over the head by bats for like 7 times, I kind of developed a hunchback. But after I jumped off the bridge, my back got straighter again. And that's kind of what I wanted to accomplish. I said this before. And then also, they threw the guy who gave me the weed off a 7-story building. And they set him on fire before that too. They set him on fire and threw him off a 7-story building. And the police left. The police in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, they left him to fucking, I don't know. They left him for 3 days after he was thrown off a 7-story distance. And they had this other girl too. She told me not to jump, or not to kill myself either. And she was thrown off a 7-story building too. Like, fucking hell, dude. And they just kind of broke their hips. The girl couldn't give birth again after the fact anymore. But they're still alive. There's one girl who died from being thrown off a 7-story building, but she was overweight. Fuck that shit. But they all went to heaven, and the girl who told me not to jump off a bridge before, she said she saw the overweight girl in heaven, and she said that she was so beautiful in heaven, and she thanked. The overweight girl. She told the girl to tell me thank you for jumping off the little bridge, because she was so happy in heaven. So it's kind of odd to think. But I think they all, after they died and they all went to heaven, they all said thank you to me. It's very twisted like that, but I don't know what kind of blackmail they were entrenched in, but I don't know why they had to die or anything. But yeah, I hate hospitals too. It's hellish time. But after the fact, no one is perfect, and no one's life is perfect. So your own aspirations to have this and that and this perfectness, it's all unattainable. You'll never get there. And you'll be happy where you are regardless anyway. So perfection is stupid. But yeah, I just wanted to make this because I watched some videos about how people's lives were kind of ruined beyond repair. And I'm like, I'm right there with you, girls. So our spirits are as one. Just be honest about it, But just be real with me. But Han, they said when they went to heaven, they didn't see Han in heaven. I'm like, what would you have possibly done to not be able to go to heaven? Because he funds a Lutheran church in Minnesota where I was raped, but they did not see him in heaven. And they didn't see any black people in heaven either. They didn't see any black people in heaven. And there's a black guy who died that same time. He was thrown off some stories as well. And he said when he died, all he saw was blackness. He was not in heaven. But he said he didn't feel pain or anything, like he wasn't in a burning hell. I think that happens at the last day or something. But I don't know, purgatory? But he said he wasn't suffering anywhere. He said it felt all right with him. He didn't feel bad about it. But the fact that they said they saw no black people in heaven, it makes you question why. And I think that goes back to creation and where black people came from, who they really are. And I've kind of researched that topic a little bit. And there's a story about the rape of Eve, about how Adam and Eve, they wanted to leave the world because they knew that the God in the Garden of Eden was a bad guy, was Satan. And then Eve ate the fruit, and the God of this world, the God in the Garden of Eden, he had his revenge on Eve by raping her with demons, and then she gave birth to Cain that way. And then Cain killed Abel, and Cain was cursed with a mark on his skin, and he's forced to wander the desert for the rest of his existence. So I think that's black people. I think, and then also like freaking Ham's wife from the story of Noah. Pretty sure it's Ham. Yeah. Ham wasn't black, but Ham's wife was black. And Noah cursed Ham's son, not necessarily Ham. And that story gets straightened up if you know the true details of those things. It's a simple story. I'll post this shit to YouTube, and it's gonna take 5 hours. Ha ha ha. But black people don't go to heaven. Han doesn't go to heaven. Han raped me. Drugs are on our seats.